The second story DLC for Assassin's Creed Valhalla, The Siege of Paris, is almost here, releasing on August 12th with a brand new territory to explore, dangerous battles to tackle, and a fresh cast of characters that will lead Eivor in his travels to the land of Francia. In this video, I am going to focus on the good, the bad, and the ugly stuff of this second DLC, so you can have all the details you need to know before heading into the game, either if you're a veteran player of the game, or someone who is reconsidering picking up this to squeeze some extra juice out of it before you finish it 100%. Let's start with the good stuff. If you're here for a solid story, I am pleased to announce that you are getting one. The Siege of Paris is one of the most important historic events in the Nordic history, and I think the game does a good job portraying it within the 5 to 10 hours that will take you to complete it, even when it takes some creative licenses in some tiny little details. All the characters that Eivor meets during his quests are meaningful and provide a good backbone to the conflict that brews up quickly between the Viking Siegfried's army and Charles the Fat, ruler of Francia. The missions are pretty straightforward, going from place to place, giving few to no surprises, but are especially well written, providing a tight pace that has its peaks whenever you enter one of 5 special infiltration missions. I am not an Assassin's Creed longtime fan. In fact, this is my first and perhaps my last title, so I can't compare them with the famous black box missions from Unity, but I did play Hitman 3 earlier this year, and I can tell you this is nowhere near that kind of freedom, but it is a good change of pace from the ultra-linear formula that we had earlier in the story. Once you arrive at a certain point in the story, you will be prompted with the infiltration mission notice and set free to reach your goal however you like. This regularly involves the sneaky way of doing things where you will learn clues of the whereabouts of your target versus the all-guns blazing approach. If you do things correctly, you can even unlock a special assassination event which leads to some pretty cool cutscenes. There's not a wide variety of assassinations or paths because, well, this is an open world game, not a sandbox one like Hitman, but I gotta say, this is a welcome surprise. But I still think that fans from the series may be left with an incomplete feeling when you compare what you could do in other games of the saga. Combat-wise, the game sits in a very good place, with the addition of 2 new weapons that include the heavily requested short sword and the fantastic scythe, along with 3 new abilities like invoking ravenous rats, planting bombs, that make that already stale action a lot more fun, continuing Eivor's journey to turn into an unstoppable Viking demigod, which feels really good to play with. As always, anything that has to do with the visual design of the game is fantastic, from the open world with its beautiful red rose fields that give the sensation of crossing a live painting to the busy streets of Paris, showing where the muscle of Ubisoft's team is and making me wonder what they will do once they leave behind past-gen consoles to focus on the current ones. Now, with the good stuff out of the way, let's go with the bad, and sadly, there are a couple of points to be made because, setting aside the story, this DLC falls short to deliver a complete package. The previous DLC, The Wrath of the Druids, provided a more complete and meaningful experience with a slightly bigger map and more interesting activities. Now, hold up a minute. I know that every time we talk about Ubisoft and their maps and how they always tend to go bigger and bigger every time, someone will mention that bigger is not always better, and I have to agree. But even when I appreciate a more manageable map size for both DLCs, Ubisoft has yet to find a way to consistently make them feel meaningful to explore. Wrath of the Druids had a really good balance, but Siege of Paris just feels flat and without passion in its design. If you are someone who has completed the campaign and just came for more story content, you will not be missing anything new or fantastic in the lush scenery of Francia. Most of the activities are the same. You have the annoying rock piling and curse symbols, the wealth collecting in enemy camps, and a severe lack of loot. This is when the new Rebel mission system that has been added to the DLC should kick in to refresh things, but it just feels like a watered-down version of the previous Royal Demand system that feels more like a chore. Here you will accept different types of missions and go from one enemy camp to the other, completing objectives that usually involve killing people. Once your task is done, you will gain infamy and cash. The more infamy you get will allow you to rank up and get rewards that include one of the 2 new armor sets along with other cosmetics. You can either do these missions with the help of not that brilliant NPCs that can boost your rewards or go solo. There's even an upgrade system for these dumb companions, but I prefer to do things my way and completely ignore them. This was the last thing I did in the DLC and perhaps the most boring couple of hours out of my 15 played in total. Even when raiding enemy camps was fun thanks to the new abilities and weapon types, the severe lack of new enemies reduced my excitement for the challenge. There's only one new enemy type, the Frankish Knight, a mounted enemy unit that is really good challenge, but when you compare it with the variety of enemies that we got in the past DLC, it really feels underwhelming. And talking about new stuff, there are only a couple of new armor sets available in this expansion, down from the 7 we had from the past DLC, which has been compensated a little bit with several new scythes and short swords, including one mythical item. In conclusion, the Siege of Paris is a somewhat lukewarm attempt from Ubisoft to keep Assassin's Creed Valhalla alive, with a really good story enclosed in a beautiful but rather empty setting, with very familiar mechanics and an endgame that may feel flat to avid players of the game. All this makes me a little bit worried about the future DLCs of the game and even the very distant release on the horizon of Assassin's Creed Infinity. I would not recommend this DLC on top of Wrath of the Druids, but if you really want to play it, I suggest you wait for a sale or buy it as a bundle once more content is added to the next year of support for the game. Thank you very much for watching this review, and for more content on Assassin's Creed Valhalla, be sure to check this place right here or consider visiting my other channel where I will be uploading some cool videos and shorts in the future. Thank you for watching and keep enjoying the game.